another episode of the Doning Experience with Chami Moroke. Mwana ko gai today. Ke re bona bo Miss SA, Mrs. SA, Vexley. Re re bona ke di finalist. It's going to be so amazing. So today we have a beautiful and gorgeous lady. Ke ena ke Mandisa. O tlo go bolela gore ke mang e o etsang. But before we get into that, let me just remind you of our social media platforms. On Instagram, it's at Doning Experience. And also, YouTube, please go there and subscribe, like, share, tell others. Some belief talk. Hi, my love.
Hello,
How are you?
I'm
How
doing
is
well.
standing?
so
How? Oh, thinking, Nikile worried. What? Kito Kenya in first level Mrs. SA Semi Finalist. Handu I was also.
I can't get a monana. So I have to come through. Like, have you seen yourself? Why
Ma, I had to look and I just look like you because Bona, look at you, flawless.
Appreciate it.
How are you, my love?
I'm so excited beyond measure to be here. Shana, the way killing happy.
Look at you.
I'm so excited, but I'm doing well. Thank you.
To the Doning family.
Okay, so in short, Nakalbizo ki Mandisa Phuncu, and I am the owner and creative director of Amari Women, and recently Mrs. South Africa Semi Finalist.
Wow,
really exciting. I'm a mother of two and a wife to a husband who loves fashion as much as I do. But you know, like what they say, Kamakosa.
Yes.
Abadlali.
Yes.
They don't play.
Please.
So he's that guy as
Look
well.
good.
Absolutely. I am absolutely in love with God. I'm in love with Jesus. Like I am obsessed with all that he's got for me, man. But that's me rounded up. And I'm a very bubbly person.
I can see.
It's a good thing. It's a good thing. But yeah, that's it.
Now let's take it to Mandisa growing up.
Well, I heard. So I'm originally from the Val. Come from a home called Magwa. My clan name is Uchawe. Royalty, darling.
Oh yes,
I'm from the Val, yes. I'm born of two amazing parents who were very encouraging of everything that I believed in. Literally, if I said I wanted to dance, they'd take me there. They'd take me. They were very supportive. My mom always spoke the words "Ituto hikemela," and my dad always said to me, "Where you are is not where you're going, so keep walking." I kid you not. That's what he kept saying all the time. And they always reiterated the fact that you need to trust God in all that you do. You need to trust God. And so growing up, like I said, they allowed us to explore our talents, literally realize every single one of our potentials without any bounds. I mean, I started off drawing sketches at a young age because I loved, genuinely, when I was 12 years old, I designed my matric farewell dress. Literally. What's that? Practice makes perfect. Because here's the thing, right? Here's the thing. Like, when you allow yourself to grow in what you believe in, you'll find yourself conquering in so many ways. Because this is all self-taught. So I've got a brand called Amari Women. 2021, I decided I'm going to start learning how to sew. And here I am doing it. But anyway, I've got a little...
So you're even sewing? Oh, my word.
Yes. Should we start over again? We can if you want me to.
Really?
Yes, I don't mind. Is it fine? Shucks. And that was so dope, eh?
Anyway, but I'm looking at them like, when?
My darling. It is.
When I get shocked, like, the camera get sheba so, and I'm like,
is she for real? It's all self-taught. Like, I literally just went to a store, started buying store-bought patterns, went to YouTube, and I followed a lady called Mimi G. She started teaching me how to sew, as if she was literally in my living room teaching me how to make clothing. And I found myself creating garments that were beyond my wildest imaginations. And my dad always says, I studied psychology, by the way.
Okay.
And my dad, when I decided to go study psychology because I wanted to be a doctor, my dad was like, Mandisa, that's not your core. Yes, you love helping people, but your calling is clothing. You love styling. You love looking good. So go make money out of it. Genuinely, that's what he said. And I looked at him and I was like, I want to be a doctor though. Like, you need to understand that. I want to be a doctor. So I did it. And then eventually here I am, full circle, as eventually
But
eventually got it
look
too.
at you. Look at you now.
That's all God. And my dad always says to me, I told you. I told you. But I had to go through what I went through to discover who I am and what I love, because getting to this point had to do with me going through the challenges that I had to face up to. And also, the journey that I went through helped me to discover who I was. Hence, I got to a point where clothing was what I wanted to do. But beyond that, my clothing is about empowerment as well. Because I love when a woman puts on a garment and they're excited and they feel good. I mean, a person who's timid and they look at themselves in the mirror and they're like, "Ke nna is this me?" Like, that makes me feel good. Yeah.
Oh my word. You know, you spoke about the parents' support.
Mm.
For me, that's something so big. You know,
Mm.
Hamutswadi Are, my child, I'm giving you all the support. Go and do it.
Mm.
Right now, it's difficult. There
Very.
are so many young women who are saying, my parents are not supporting me.
Mm. That is absolutely true. I mean, I grew up in an age, honestly,
Mm.
where being a doctor, being a teacher, being a nurse, being dreaming of being a CEO or COO were things that people really spoke about loosely, to say this is what you should get into, go study this, go get into HR. That was what we were taught. But creativity was not something that was encouraged, you know. And to have parents who were encouraging it the way they were was an absolute blessing. But beyond that, I strongly believe it's it's the fact that I come from a church where we were encouraged to explore every one of our gifts. We danced like hip hop dance was a normal thing for us, you know. We sung like I could sing man. It was encouraged that you should be yourself and do it for Mudimu. And when my parents were able to see that I was doing it on stage for God, it was a no-brainer for them to allow me to go explore it elsewhere as well, you know. So it was a blessing, man, having to grow up in that environment where my parents were centered around God, number one. Number two, they believed in the fact that you need to allow your child to blossom and realize who they are. I mean, I went through different talents that I explored, but I found myself comfortable in creativity. I mean, I danced, I sang, I wrote poetry, and I did so much, and I could show you the amount of achievements I've had in those. But I eventually settled in making clothing because my parents allowed me to explore myself in my fullness. And I think that's a quality parents need to genuinely allow their children to have, where they just, you make a mistake and say, okay, fine, you don't like this shop, let's move on to the next one. Okay, you don't like this, okay, let's try that one. I mean, I didn't grow up in a very rich family at all. Like, I grew up in a very chilled home. We didn't have a lot, but my parents ensured that they gave us everything that we needed. Like, so having to discover who I was solely because of Mansui Abona. It was not necessarily money, but nearly Mansui Abona, to say, like, you need to punt forward what you need to. You need to work hard towards what you want. And if you love creativity, explore it. Yeah, man, like, honestly, my parents are just a gift. A
You know,
gift.
I wish we can understand that those words. I know about the riches that but those words, there's riches there.
They live, hey?
Yeah. The prayers, Samutswadi, are the most powerful thing.
Baby girl. And those will carry you through it. I still say I had the best relationship with my grandma, my mom's mom. I also had a good relationship with my dad's mom, but the thing is, she passed away when I was really young. So with my mom's mom, Kimu Tsibila, until I was well in my early 20s. So our relationship was super strong. Like, every single time I felt like I'm at my lowest, my mom would say, just call her. And I would, and she would literally always uplift me and pray. And chances are, even when the phone was dropped, she'd probably carry on praying. And I believe those are prayers that are still carrying me till this very moment. Like, do not underestimate the power of having a spiritual life. I'm not saying move over to Christianity, but having a spiritual life and a spiritual connection with who you are intrinsically and who lives within you as well, and being very sensitive to what God has to say to you. It is so important, because also one thing that I've realized is that my life was so directed by how God would speak to me. Like, I would not hear him like I hear you, but I knew I needed to make a specific move. Sometimes people would be like, why didn't you take this opportunity? And I'd be like, something did not feel right.
Of course.
I had to walk away from that. It felt like, or rather, it seemed like a good idea, but it felt like something was not right. So a lot of what I have I've been able to get to or achieve was based on God speaking to me intrinsically. And even entering Mrs. South Africa,
Yes.
I wanted to do it 5 years ago.
But it wasn't the
It
time.
wasn't the time. I wanted to do 4 years ago. It was not the time. 3 years ago, the worst of worst happened to me, and I found myself at a point where I had to question myself as well. You know, when things happen to you, you start reassessing yourself. What are my toxic traits? What is it that I need to learn and unlearn? How do I grow from this? Because, in all honesty, had I entered all those years ago, I don't think I would have been ready, because God had to prune me. He had to
Yes.
break me to bring me back together again. The woman that I am today versus who I was then. Yo, worlds apart. They are the same person, but they're worlds apart, because God had to show me things about myself that I didn't quite like as well, in order for me to be able to stand before you and be like, I have this toxic trait that I'm still working on. I have this. I'm unlearning this. I'm learning this. I had to realize that I don't always have to be chosen.
Oh my word.
I don't
Yes.
always have to be chosen. It's a very painful realization to come across, but I had to realize that being chosen does not mark whether or not I'm worth it, or I'm valued, or I mean anything. You know, ke tseba gore Modimo o na le nna, and He has already chosen me. I do not need anybody to validate who I am, because I won't lie, years ago, even though I would have not admitted it then, I was a pick me. I definitely was. And having gone through all that I had gone through, the breaking down and the building up, I had to realize I don't always have to be chosen. I don't always have to be seen as the one. But I know that God has His fingerprint on me, and nobody has to validate me. And those are teachings that I got from my parents. My parents, I always say my dad is my first boyfriend. That man taught me how to love, how to be loved. He taught me how to validate me without having to hear anybody say what I need to hear. But obviously life had to teach me as well, because my dad told me these things, but life had to teach me those lessons. And had I entered Mrs. South Africa when I wanted to, I would have probably drowned, because it is a major responsibility. Mrs. South Africa is not just a pageant where they're like, oh, you're pretty, we're choosing you, or you've got a pretty body, you're tall, you're short, you're this. It's not about that. It's not about that. It's about you living within your purpose and allowing other people, or rather giving other people the permission to shine their light, because you do yours so effortlessly. And had I entered back then, because of where I was, I don't think I would have been able to shine that light the way I ought to. It was there, but I think I needed to recognize it first and understand who I am and what I bring to the table. So yeah.
I've been noticing something about beauty pageants. People have this tendency, social media. People will go and dig and say, Mandisa used to be like this. So I love the fact that you had to set yourself. You had to fix a lot of things about you before you could go in and enter. Because pageants like this, they require so much. You work with people. And if umutu no, you're not gonna work. Yeah, like no. Hey,
girl, you
batla o ntshetsa
cannot,
mo.
you can't.
Yeah.
And what I love about this pageant, it's about sisterhood. And now with what you're speaking about, utlokopana le batho, I mean, they're different people from different walks of life. They all come from different backgrounds, brought up by different parents. They understand life totally differently from you. So now you coming into that space, you need to come with the understanding that yes, na onana. And I'm not gonna get in there thinking that I know better. Get in there knowing that when you walk into that sisterhood, you're willing to learn. You're willing to grow. You're willing to unlearn certain things that may not have been beneficial to you as well. But also, you're still willing to stand firm upon who you are at the same time. Because when you come across stunning women who choose to dress a specific way or act a specific way, you'll find yourself falling into certain traps because you're trying to be someone else. But when you get into a pageant like this, you need to be, look, I'm not saying walk into it perfect, because none of us walked into it perfect. You come as you are, literally come as you are, but understand that the superpower that you hold is that nobody is you.
True.
Nobody is you. So come in there being yourself. Yes, you're going to learn how to do your makeup. Yes, you're going to learn how to style your hair a specific way. Yes, you're going to learn how to style your clothing a specific way. Yes, you're going to learn how to speak a specific way, but understand that you need to come as you. That's what they want. They're not looking for a person they would have created themselves. They're looking for you because, like I said, when you shine your light, you give somebody else the permission to shine their light unapologetically. So,
Whew,
so yeah.
that was powerful.
Me.
So this month, a journey happened to go for, was it Clearwater Mall?
Yes.
Hey, what is going on?
Hey, Doning Experience is sponsored by Dreamstream. If you'd like to support us directly and gain ad-free version of our episodes, click on the link below.
Let me tell you, the nerves hit me so hard.
Yeah.
First and foremost, I entered the day before the closing date. Mainly because I needed to be sure. Like
Yeah.
I literally sat with myself and my hubby and I was like, yo, bro, are we doing this for real? And he was like, dude, I've got your back. Just do it. Like, do it. You get through, great. You don't, great. But you tried. You know, at least you tried. And so eventually I put the applications through. I got the email back for an invitation.
Wow.
And next thing you know, we go clear what. First and foremost, actually, I didn't even have an outfit. Let's just start there. I created the outfit. Darling, I had no outfit. I literally created the outfit the night before. My husband watched me. Was like, "Are you for real? Like, you've got so many clothes. You could recycle something in the room, you know." And then I was like, "Nah, bro. Like, if I'm doing this, you know, I need to get into it knowing that I am." Like and I
that
feel
winning mentality.
Yes. Fly,
How
man.
can I
Darling, yo, let me tell you, that morning, and then he saw my dress the morning. He didn't see it the night because I was still busy. He passed out on the couch. I'm still in the morning. He wakes up. I'm dressing, and he's like, "Girl, your dress," and I'm like, "Oh, thank you, baby.
Musisi, what the hours?
What the hours, my darling? What the hours, my darling?" So we eventually drove off to. My parents came, by the way, as well, because they were like, "We're not missing this for the world. We are not." Even my nephew came through as well. Like they were like, "We are not missing it." Sadly, my little boys couldn't make it because they were at school, which is fine. And then when they saw me, though, fast track, when they saw me, they were like, "Are you Mr. South Africa?" I'm like, "No,
not yet."
No. Just to say we are, you know, we're trying it out. So anyway, I was super, super nervous, but I got there and I made friends instantly. Like every one of those women, you could tell they have been through life itself. They've been carved, they've been pruned, and they're ready to literally take over. And you could literally sense that energy because, you know, a lot of times you get into a room and there are a lot of women. The first thing we do is size each other.
Of course.
There was none of that. I kid you not, everybody just wanted to huddle around each other. What are we doing? Are they going to ask us questions? We were all just curious as to what's going on. What are we going to be doing? And then I had a lady called Natasha. She was like, "I just followed you. I followed you a few days ago because I was like, we entered the competition together and I couldn't wait to see you." And I was like, "No, Natasha." And she's from Durban. She was so excited. But yeah, like it was such a beautiful atmosphere to be in because we were women, we were like-minded women, not to be in competition with each other, but to do something we've always been nervous about. That's the kind of energy you could sense in the area that it was not about you are better, you are better, you are better, I'm better. It had nothing to do with that, but we just wanted to conquer our fears. We wanted to break new ground. We wanted to inspire our children. That's all that was about. So anyway, they called us in groups of 10s. There were 130 of us. There were 300 of us first, apparently. They cut us down to 130 something or so. So we had to model in like 10s. 10. So when the time came for me to model, I literally put on my my old school self because I used to model back in the day, pageant girl. And I was like, what am I gonna do? Because I haven't even practiced my walk. I didn't have the time to. Let me put on Musemfuleni. Let me put her on and just become her again. And I just got on stage and I had the time of my life. I did not see the judges. You know, when you get on stage, you just don't see nobody. I didn't see nobody except for my husband. I saw him standing up there with the video. My husband and my parents over there. And I saw my nephew looking at me, and I'm like, oh, my little baby. Those are the people that I saw. Everybody else literally was a blur because I was just like, I'm in that moment. You know what I mean? You know? And then when we had to speak about how long we've been married, I had forgotten for a split second. I looked at my husband and I remembered, and I was like, oh, 8 years. It's been 8 years. Yeah, it was a beautiful experience nonetheless. It was so beautiful. And then the time came for them to call the semi-finalists and tell us who we are. My darling, you know that song Yatsepotolo? You're waiting for your name to be called.
Yes.
Hey, I heard that song play in my head because
Your
my
body's
name did not
shaking.
in disbelief. I was literally shaking in disbelief. I was like, God, why isn't my name getting called? Because I'm like, she went before me and I went after her. Why is she getting called? What is going on? Yo, me and Natasha sat next to each other. We're like, girl, let's go home. It's okay. We tried. You know, it was great. You know, we tried. My husband was just taking a video shaking. He was like shaking literally because he's scared. He doesn't even know like what's going on. And he was just shaking because he's taking a video of me for the whole process. And he's like, and I'm like, shame, bruh. I know how you feel. I know. So eventually they called my name up and there was no screaming from my end because I didn't even hear it. My husband had to be like, they're calling your name.
Yes.
Your name has been called. And then I got up, got into stage, and I was so excited. It was the most exhilarating feeling. Not because, oh, this is my chance to win. No, I actually made it through to the next round. In my nerves, my insecurities, everything that I felt, I still made it through. That's what I love.
You know, I want you to take us to Mrs. SA because a lot of us require Miss SA. When did Mrs. SA start?
Mrs. SA started quite some. It's actually an old pageant, but it got under new management recently, and it's been doing quite well, to be quite honest. Because what I love about it is that it's got a diverse type of women that enters into it. Even the winners are very diverse. Like you can't really put a blueprint upon it to say, but Jane. These are the kind of people that win. But so it's been around for quite some time, and like I say, the diverse kind of women that enter, diverse kind of women that win, and that's what I love about it. But beyond that, like I said, it's not just a pageant about beauty and height and weight and style and this and that. It's literally about empowerment, sisterhood, community, networking, self assurance. Like it's the most it's empowerment, man.
Because
It's
I was about to ask for
empowerment.
the goal of this pageant,
Empowerment ultimately. I mean, they've got multiple pillars that they stand upon. But for me, when we were inside the workshop for like the 2 days we were there for, I felt so, I'm literally getting goosebumps because this is for real. I felt so empowered. I felt like I could conquer the world. I felt like I could get out there and do the best of my abilities to ensure that I improve myself and those around me. We had multiple speakers. Number one, we're not even paying for these speakers. Literally, we're walking into a workshop and we are being drenched in knowledge. We're being drenched in empowerment and inspiration. It was different, man. Like I haven't been to a Miss South Africa workshop. I've entered it, but I never quite felt the atmosphere that I felt when I was at Mrs. South Africa. It was different. It was a bunch of women who were mature, who were carved by time, who understood who they are, who were still discovering themselves, still, who were not seeking validation, but they were seeking some self discovery on themselves, you know, women who just wanted to learn from another woman. What I loved about it as well, the whole entire experience, I'm diverting because I'm saying a lot.
I love it.
What I loved about it as well is that we were all asking each other questions. How do you do this? How do you do that? Like you get there and you take a picture of a person, for example. How did you take that picture? Please teach me. What do you do? no, I do this. Okay, let's exchange numbers. Let's do this together. I've got this idea. And like it was networking. And that's one of the pillars that Mrs. South Africa also stands upon. It's networking. That's what it's about. And networking isn't like sisterhood. You know,
Sisterhood, yeah.
it's important for us to stand together. I mean, if you were to see as well, the Mrs. South Africas and the runner ups, they're still a close knit family till
Yes.
today.
Yeah.
And those are the things that they speak on highly. One of the other pillars is community, having to serve your community,
Yeah.
having to grow your community. I mean, it stands for so many pillars that a lot of us women desire to just tap into. And to be honest with you, this is probably one of the best decisions I made.
I love that.
It
So,
is.
I love the fact that you mentioned community work
Mm.
because obviously with these pageants, you're
Mm.
going to be
You
tapping
have
into
to.
that.
Mm.
Like, but let's about give focus of interested in
Mm.
because a lot of people they would focus on GBV,
Mm.
others on this. What's your main focus?
So here's the thing, right? Eish, Modimo, let's get very explain that one. So we've got charities that we'll be working with, right? To sebetsang le cancer, to sebetsang le abuse within families, within communities, and we've got charities that also work with animals as well. You know, because that's another aspect that is really untapped in such a major way.
True.
The one that really spoke to me was one that was super focused on GBV.
Oh, yeah.
It's focused on the violence that happens within communities where you find, for example, a boy raping their mom continuously. These are things that happen that are unspoken of. So that's a charity that I really had my eyes open towards. But beyond that, what I also stand for is empowerment of both genders, you know?
True.
Yeah, that is what I stand for on my personal pages. That's what I speak on a lot as well. I've got Amari Women, that is my brand, that speaks on empowerment, not just clothing, but empowerment as well. But I've also got Amari Men, because I think another untapped situation is that men also go through what we go
True.
through. They have their mental breakdowns. They have their challenges that they experience. They have demons that they fight and that they don't speak of. Because from a young age, they're taught that boys don't cry.
Boys don't
And you grow with
cry.
that.
Yeah. Indoda ayikhali.
Ayikhali,
You know those
Tina, you know
things,
what I
yeah.
mean? And for me, those are the things that I'd love to really stand upon, having to encourage men to be to find their inner voice and being able to express themselves as well. The one thing that I always tell my boys, because one my firstborn, he's very sensitive. So whenever he has to express himself, it takes a while. You know, it takes a while. And I always tell him, like, you need to express yourself. I can't read your mind. I can tell that you're not okay, but you need to speak, because I could never truly know what's going on. And if you don't speak, you'll get into trouble for something that you did not necessarily do. You know, for example, when bullies bully kids at school, um, teachers would usually see the aftermath of the bullying, where the child is retaliating, then they think the child is the problem. No, it starts from somewhere. There was a bully who started it, and now the child is retaliating because they've been quiet for so long. You know, because eventually a child bursts, and a boy child in specification, they burst, and eventually, because men can hold things in, but eventually they burst. And so those are the things that I'd really like to tap into: mental health when it comes to men, rather mental wellness when it comes to men, spiritual health as well is something that I'd really like to stand upon. So ideally, like, empowerment of both genders is something that I'd really like to stand upon. But beyond that, the violence that's happening within our communities.
Hectic. I love how you touched on the boy child. We witnessing a lot of things happening in terms of GBV. A lot of men, growing up, a lot of things happened and they never got to express it. Okay, this is what I went through. Now, because he's all grown up, answering everything.
And that's the thing, we never deal with the symptoms.
Exactly.
We don't deal with the symptoms. We only deal with the aftermath of it all. But like, they've been coughing. Now that the blood is coming out and the lungs are capped, now suddenly you want to deal with it. But I don't want to say it's too late, but now things have gone bad. They've gone bad. And these are things that I think our communities need to really be aware of. Like, we need our men so much,
So
guys.
much,
We
please.
need our men. And it took, for me personally, I grew up with both my parents. I grew up with my dad being present. But it took me getting married and experiencing everything that I've had to experience within my marriage to understand that men are an essential and integral part of our lives.
Ooh.
Like, we need them beyond measure. And I don't think they know that enough because they don't hear it.
Exactly.
They don't hear it enough. They just, or rather, we just assume because we say, "Oh, thank you for getting me this," or we just assume that because we're present with them every single day, that they believe and know that they're appreciated and all that, only to find they don't feel it. They want to hear it. They want to be soothed as well. They want to be to be told they're important. I had to hear these things from my husband as well. He had to make me understand that I want to hear these things. I want to
Yes.
know that you appreciate me. I want to know that you love me. Everything that you want, I also want.
I also
I had to
want.
learn these things as well. But these are in general things that our men also wanna be let to know of, because they find themselves, like you said, like, you grow up in an environment where things happen. You grow up in an environment, now suddenly you're married, and
Yes.
repetition finds itself happening again because
Course.
you never dealt with what you went through. So yeah, man, like, banna ba rona, we have to, like, re ba hlokomele. Re ba bo- re ba fe ntho eo, man.
So please.
Re ba fe ntho eo, man. Re ba
Hey,
navigate-
oh, baby.
please, please.
You know, since I remove the motivation side
Mm.
and understand you're a spiritual person,
Mm.
which verse
Mm.
keeps you going? Go away thinking how
Oh,
Ayona.
my darling, from James, that says, "Consider it pure joy when you go through trials of
Ooh.
many kinds, because the testing of your faith develops perseverance." That's been my life. That was my scripture, but I didn't understand it because we're taught to memorize, memorize, memorize. But it takes going through it to understand that the testing of your faith develops your perseverance. Because where I am and where I'm going is based off what I have been through and what I had to experience with my God in my alone time. Another one that I love from Isaiah. They that wait upon the Lord shall renew their strength. They shall mount up with wings as eagles. They shall run and not grow weary. Darling, wa nkutlwisisa mara?
Like go away thinking
Oh,
ishapale ka mo hare
Oh,
hore-
Tlisisa. Those verses hit me so hard because that's the life that I have literally lived and then come to understand. And it only happened because of experience. So yeah.
How shebile kore ha ne di-judges di re di bitsa lebitso la hao ke eng e entseng hore o kgethe? How shebile
Hey.
Oh, it's okay. Sometimes when it turns to Igbo, hore o itse mara, yeah, ba bone hore mo.
Girl.
Hore ke a ihlalohanya.
Modimo wa kgotso. I would say I was myself. Because I looked at how we all walked, how we chose to express ourselves, and how we chose to express ourselves in terms of what we looked like. I chose to be myself. I didn't go as anybody else. I didn't go to as emulating any of the winners, for example. I literally got there and I was myself. And I think that's why they chose everybody else that they chose, because people presented themselves the way they were without trying to filter off anything,
course.
Yeah.
Oh my word, I cannot wait. So tell us hore I ke rano ke di-semis. So the process go tlo etsahalang after here.
So as of present, the tasks that we have been given, they're multiple tasks. So we've got a number of sponsors that have come on board with Mrs. South Africa. So we need to promote them as well because we are officially their ambassadors as Semi Finalists. So how bona konthong o hlono tswe gore ha ke bua ena o hlono ke a e sebedisa ka hobane ba mphile yona ene ka nnete ya sebetsa, and I'm representing the brand because it genuinely works. And so yeah, that's one of the tasks that we have. There are quite a number of them. We've also got sponsorships that we need to look out for as well in terms of our journey. So a person can jump onto my journey and say, I'd like to sponsor your journey. What do you need? And then we can
Okay.
sit down and discuss the whole process and say, okay, cool. This is what I need for my process. What can you present towards me? Because also the other thing is that in as much as we've got sponsors, right? Um, how jumper on as my sponsor, my personal sponsor, and you're coming to say, look, I'm willing to offer my services in this manner. I need to also do something for you.
True.
You know, so if you have a business and you'd love to sponsor me as a business, I could jump onto my social platforms and I will speak of your brand. If there are events happening, I'm there. I speak of them. I literally punt forward what you stand for fully. So those are one of the other tasks that we have. What else? Doing that, they're also promoting people to vote for us as well is something that we also
So there's
need
a voting process.
Yes, there's a
Please
voting
tell
process.
us about it. You need to. Hey,
Ke a le
Ke a kopa. O ile
kopa.
na le camera ya hao. O ba bolelle o re, hey, some belief.
So this
Please
is what
tell
you
us
gotta
it.
do. So you need to hop onto Mrs. South Africa on Instagram and Facebook, like and share my picture. You're welcome to vote for everybody else. You're welcome. Trust me, you are. I'm just saying because I'm here. I'm here, so I'm just saying.
Habi's gonna be watching this. So I'm just the host.
You are just here to do the most, eh? That's it. So you hop into the Mrs. South Africa page on Instagram as well as on Facebook. You go to my page, to my picture, and then you like and you share. But you need to follow these pages. So it's very important to follow first so that it can actually be valid. Because if you don't follow the page, then it's not going to be valid. So you need to go into the page, follow first, like my picture, and then share my picture. You can comment if you'd like to as well. And then there's also an SMS line that we've got. So you're going to say Mandisa Phuncu. You're going to SMS it to 47587. That's 47587. So you're going to say Mandisa Phuncu on the SMS line. And it's 3 Rand per SMS. Free SMSs do not apply.
Wait, ka se tlohele brand ya hao. Is it Amari? Okay.
Amari Women, yes, you're perfectly right.
Kore ke tla tseba lebitso le ko hane o re ke bitsa so.
So I've always been in love with women. Ke rata basadi ka tsela e makatsang because of the resilience that we possess, the power that is instilled within us. We don't have to say a word just by walking in the street. I mean, men look at you because of the power that you hold. There is something about you. It's not just your beauty, babe. There's something about you when you walk in the street that people just want to look at you, you know? Whether you're in sweats, you're in t-shirt, but because of the matter that you carry. So Amari is a Swahili word that means possesses strength. Yes. So the brand is called Amari Women. So it's she who possesses strength, great strength rather. So that's what it is. It's an African-inspired brand that is focused on African print. I dabble in the plain prints, in the plain fabrics as well. But ideally, print is my thing. I'm in love with print, African print. Yeah, it's an African brand that is solely focused on women. But we've also got Amari Men. But Amari Men is more of the clean guy, the guy who just loves his formal look, casual look, but he still just wants to make a statement. You know what I mean? But yeah, that is me. That is me.
Balance being a wife, you can Mrs. SA, go away to king.
We need to wear these hats, but do not forget who you are, eh? Not forget who you are, because when these hats are all taken away, who are you? Don't forget who you are.
Mbogoto vibes.
Darling.
So Mandisa, again, what can we expect this year from you?
This year we can expect inspiration on another level. And it's not inspiration that's orchestrated by me, but orchestrated by God. Like, I'm literally at God's mercy. This year, what I'm solely focused upon is ensuring that I walk directly in my purpose. And that is ensuring that this brand that I'm growing grows and it touches the hearts of millions, not just thousands, but millions, even across our borders. That's what you can expect. You can expect the finals.
Kopale voting.
It's okay, Mudimu let's the rest.
Yes.
Like, just
Yeah.
please, just do that part.
It's a game.
Just do that part. That's all I'm
That's
asking for.
it.
Yeah. Please vote. Let's get to the finals this year.
Mm.
Growing in my creativity, getting more comfortable in who I am, because I'm still discovering myself. I'm still growing. But beyond that, for me, living within my purpose and inspiring people who are watching, because in as much as look, I'm not a celebrity or any of that, but there are people who are watching who say "Ke batla ba so."
That
You
one
know,
person.
that one
Mm.
person is watching and they're inspired.
Yeah.
For me, I live for inspiration because somebody inspired me. I was inspired by somebody else to do the things that I'm doing, or rather people that I was surrounded by, people that I was seeing. So I'd like to be that one person for that one person that inspires that one person. And I am happy because my life is not my own. I don't live for me. I know for a fact God called me for a purpose much greater than my own. And all that I desire is for somebody else to see God in me.
Oh.
That's all. I don't want to have to say I'm Christian or I believe in God or I'm obsessed with Jesus. You need to see it and be like, yep.
You know, my prayer every time I come on set, I'm like, God, let the people see you in me.
That's it.
That's it.
That's it.
That's it.
Decrease
It's
me
not
and
about
you
Chami.
increase.
It's about you. You
Not
know,
at all.
I love that.
Not at all. Not at all. It's
Next.
about Mudimu. May you decrease and may God increase. And that's all we desire.
Amazing.
That is all that we desire.
I hope I'm not forgetting anything. You're telling me about a brand or something. I hope I can't value anything.
Next, my darling, you literally
because
asked everything.
audience take out fela.
My darling.
Re fiele, re favorite everything.
Except for vote for me, please. Do not forget.
And
Guys.
never support the brand.
Yes,
Because
and that as well. And I'm going to make sure you look
So
good.
please,
Hey? And
Babla,
I'm all about drama. Let me tell you, I'm all like I can have you look simple and chilled, but I love drama. I mean, like this dress that I'm wearing has got a train. And get broad daylight, and we're out here in trains.
But I they need to see Mandisa.
It's what I do. It's what I do. No, I will make you look good. Like I genuinely will make you look good. My biggest desire of the brand is for a person to put it on and feel like, yeah, I'm that girl.
Yeah.
Literally, you gotta feel like you are that girl.
How can I enter that room? You're like,
Bauche. Even when only one.
Yes.
How fit are you just like, our Amari Women dress me, darling. Of course.
Is there a shop, Mandisa?
No, not as yet. That is one of the things that we are definitely looking into doing in the near future. But the main focus at the moment is to get my online store up and running for the year. And then eventually brick and mortar would be something that we'll look into eventually. But for now, online, you go to my Instagram, either Mandisa Phuncu, Mandisa underscore Phuncu, or you go to Amari underscore Woman. And you can just DM us and tell us if you'd like us to meet up with you, because I do bespoke as well. We've got a few pieces that you can also choose from within the page, but ideally just tell us what you need and we'll recreate it the way you imagine it to look like. And we'll probably just exceed your expectations, genuinely. I'm just saying, ask our clients. Just ask our clients. I'm just saying.
But maybe let now come for
my darling. Surprise.
So please,
don't worry,
you never know.
So
we're speaking life into the place by God's grace. It's
Amen. Amen. Just living within God's purpose.
That's
and
how
that
it is. He knows the plans.
Oh, you see, sir. No, I can't wait to see it. Gay born already. Like it's in my head. I see that store and it looks absolutely fire. It is fire beyond measure. And I just can't wait for you guys to see it, man.
No,
but
it's gonna happen.
Allow growth to be though. Allow the pressure to like simmer down. Please, simmer down is coming.
So
the finals are going to be in November. However, the voting system and the sponsorships help me towards attaining my spot within the finals as well. So the semi-final judging's on the 5th of July. What I need you guys to do within this period is vote. And if you're a sponsor that would love to get in contact with me, come through.
So please.
DM me go Instagram Mandisa underscore Phuncu. Let's discuss it further.
Yeah.
And the votes also help quite a lot because they literally secure my spot into, well, of course, the judging is part of it as well. But at least it's a foot in if I've got like the votes and the sponsorships narrowed
course.
down. But ideally, vote.
Simply or
And then
else.
5, it's at July. That's when the judging is officially.
Yeah.
And then after that, then they announce the top 30 from 100.
Woo.
Top 30 from
You
100.
are in. You are in.
Jesus' name.
Kanjalo.
Siyabonga, siyabonga.
Mandisa, in closing, to a young lady who wants to also enter, what can you say to that person? And that person is struggling with confidence. What can you say to that person?
What I'd love to say to her is allow yourself firstly to go through the processes that you need to go through first. If you're going through a challenging time in this moment in time and you feel like you really want to enter and you're not ready, listen to that. That's fine. That's okay. Allow yourself to go through the processes that you're going through and allow God to prune you the way he needs to, so that when you finally make that decision, it is fully ordained by God, and the fact that you are fully ready to immerse in that. Because being Mrs. South Africa, or rather walking that path, requires of you to be yourself fully without any fear or doubt. So allow yourself to go through the processes that you're going through. It's important, because you got to trust the process. You've got to trust that it is all going to work together for your good. And then eventually when you do enter, my darling, you will feel like, yeah, I gotta be here. I gotta be here. But beyond that, maximize your talents and realize your potential. Stand upon that. Once you've realized who you are and you're at peace with her and you continue to discover yourself continuously, be comfortable with that girl. Love her.
Oh, powerful. Mandisa, thank you so much for joining us here on the Downing. We really appreciate you.
I appreciate the opportunity.
Yeah.
I think this was absolutely beautiful.
Thank you so much.
Appreciate it, my lady.
A woman driven by purpose, a woman who understands herself, who's been through her own experiences. That's why this is Downing experience. We are unpacking all the experiences that men and women go through. Ke kopa gore ko ga e bona le kene le mo voteleng, and just make sure she goes there, go staging sele, and just takes the crown. I mean, really, you're getting it. So thank you so much for joining us here on the Downing Experience. Ke leboga fela gore le tsere matsapa for just watching this episode, subscribing, liking, sharing, and telling others. We really, really appreciate. Don't forget gore ke Downing Experience with Chami Morake, ke Mina Loko, ke Mosebo wa Dira. Thank you so much.